Welcome back to Big Nick's Meats and Treats. It's just a few days after Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and we're going to show you a recipe to use all those turkey leftovers so you don't have to eat turkey sandwiches for the next 2 weeks. Okay, we're going to make easy turkey pot pie, and it is fantastic. It's one of my wife's favorite recipes, so we're going to get into that. We had Thanksgiving over at my daughter's house, so we had 0 leftovers. So what I'm going to do to make this turkey pot pie for you today is I'm actually going to smoke about a 7.5 pound bone-in turkey breast and put that on the smoker, and then we're going to get it ready to go and make that pie for you. See you in a bit. All right, I'm ready to put the turkey on, and as you can see, we're living in Snowmageddon right now. We had over 1 foot of snow last night. So take a look at the turkey here. It's just a bone-in turkey breast. I spatchcocked it, salt and pepper, rosemary, and thyme. I got the smoker set at 325. Put a meat probe in here. I'm thinking this is probably going to take about 2.5 hours or so. So we'll leave that in there, and then we'll be ready to make some pot pie. Welcome back. It's been about 2.5 hours. We got our turkey done. It looks and smells fantastic. If you don't want to cook a turkey or a bone-in breast and you got leftovers for the pot pie, you can use leftovers. If you don't have any leftovers, the easy way to do it, go to Costco and get yourself a rotisserie chicken. That's just about the perfect amount of meat that you'll need for the recipe. I'm going to let this cool for about a half hour, and then I'll pull it apart and we'll get to work on the gravy, which is the best part of the pot pie. We'll see you in a bit. All right, now we're going to start with the gravy for the pot pie. And this is what really sets this apart from your basic store-bought pot pie, is a homemade gravy. So what I've done in the bigger pot is I have 1.5 sticks of butter in there. In the smaller pot, I have 5 cups of chicken stock. And to that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of chicken bouillon, or you can use 2 bouillon cubes, whichever. I like this better than bouillon stuff. You can do 1 teaspoon equals the same as 1 bouillon cube. So you can either do the better than bouillon 2 teaspoons, or you can do 2 bouillon cubes. And we want to heat this chicken stock and the bouillon through. Simultaneously, I have the butter melting over here, 1.5 sticks of butter. And once this gets melted, I'm going to add some flour and get a roux going. This recipe I'm giving you will make 2 full pot pies. So you can either make a pie and then save the filling for later, or you can do 2 pies and freeze one, however you want to do it. But this will make 2. If you don't want to make that much, just split everything I'm telling you by half, and you can do 1 pie. So I'll get this roux started, and we'll see you in a minute. All right, I got all the butter melted. The chicken stock's heating up. Now I'm going to add 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour to the butter and get our roux going here. And I want to stir this and let it cook for at least 2 minutes. I want to get nice color to it, get all that flour incorporated into the butter. When it comes to a roux, it's equal parts fat and flour. Okay, so that's going to give us a really good base for our roux. So I'm going to let this cook for a couple more minutes, continue to let the chicken stock heat up, and then we'll get going on it. See you in a bit. All right, we got our roux going there. If you take a look at it, we got a nice caramely color to our roux, which is real good. That's what we're looking for. Now I'm going to add the chicken stock. We're going to add that to the roux. And we're going to keep cooking this for several minutes until it starts to thicken up. And while that's doing that, I am going to add 2 teaspoons of kosher salt and 1/2 teaspoon of coarse ground pepper. Now, as far as other seasonings go, you can add whatever you want. I like to add rosemary, thyme, and sage to give it that Thanksgiving type flavor. And just taste it and season it to what you like. All right, so I'm going to let this thicken up, and we'll get back to you. All right, I've been working the gravy for several minutes. It's getting nice and thick from our roux. It smells just wonderful. A couple other things I'm going to add, personal choice. I like to add canned mushrooms to it. If you don't like mushrooms, you don't have to put them in there. I'll take about 1/2 bag of peas of carrots, frozen peas and carrots, put that in there. And then I'm going to add my turkey. Or if you do a rotisserie chicken, you can put all that in there too. Just make sure you make it in bite-sized pieces. And we're going to cook this in the gravy a little bit. Man, that smells good already. Get that all in there. Chef gets a bite. All right, put that in there. Good. Then I'll continue to work this gravy for a little bit, and then we'll start working on the crust. We'll see in a bit. One last ingredient in the gravy, I'm going to take a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And that just gives us an amazing texture on the gravy. And get that all whisked in. Say that fast 3 times. And I'm just going to keep this on really low heat while I'm working on the crust. I'm going to go ahead and get those crusts ready, and we'll show you how we do that. Okay, see ya. All right, time to go over this most amazing no-fail pie crust. Here it is. Spend $4, get the Marie Callender's deep dish pastry pie crusts. They're so good and so much easier than doing it from scratch. They come in a 2-pack. Okay, one of them is going to be the bottom of the pie, and then the other one, you're just going to take it out of the pie pan, and this is going to end up being your top. Okay, so roll it up in a ball. Make sure you got some flour on your cutting board, some flour on your rolling pin, and we're going to roll this out and make it the top of our pie. These things are so much easier than trying to do it from scratch, and they're really good and cheap. It's kind of cheating, but you know, when the family's hungry, does it really matter? All right, we got that all rolled out. Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to get our filling off of the stove, and we're going to fill up our pie crust, get the top on, and we'll get it in the oven. See you in a minute. All right, I took some of our filling off of the stove, put it in the bottom pie crust. Now I'm going to take the top one, lay it on here, and I'm no professional pastry chef here when it comes to doing the edge, but pinch the edges so your gravy doesn't boil over. If you're really good at cooking pies and stuff, you probably know some fancy way to do this, but I'm just a Joe, so the commander will probably come back and clean this up after. But basically what you want to do is just make sure that your gravy isn't going to overflow, so you want to pinch the top with the bottom. Okay. Good enough for government work, I think. All right, couple final steps. I'll go over those in just a second, and we'll get it in the oven. All right, our final steps before we put it in the oven is took 1 egg, mixed it up real good in a bowl, and I want to do an egg wash on top of the whole pie crust here. You can see that the commander took control of the edges there and tried to make them look pretty because they were pretty amateur after I did it. But you know what? It's all going to end up in my belly. So get a nice egg wash. Make sure you get the crusts on the edge here. And then this is what really sets it off. Salt and pepper, the top of that. That turns it a nice savory crust. And then I'm going to take a sharp knife and I'm going to cut like 3 small holes in here. And I'm going to put this in the oven at 375 degrees for 1 hour. And then we'll be ready to dig into this thing. We'll see you in an hour. All right, our pie's done. It's been just short of an hour. I've been blowing snow for the 3rd time today. I'm starving. I'm ready to dig into this thing. This looks fantastic. So I'll go ahead and get a scoop out of this thing, put it on a plate. Oh man, that looks good. I took a small piece for video because I don't want to look like I'm making a pig of myself, but man, does it look good. So you can see inside there, it's nice and juicy. Gravy's good. That's one thing that kills me about store-bought pot pies is they're just dry as the Gobi Desert. So I'm gonna dig into this thing here. Lots of turkey. Ooh, that looks good. So good. It's like Thanksgiving in a pie crust. It's so good. It's so good. Try this out with your leftovers or a Costco rotisserie chicken. It's so good and it's so easy. Like I said, the recipe I showed you there is for 2 pies. So you can save some of the filling, or you can make 2 at once and freeze one, whatever you want to do. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. Tell your friends about us. And until I do another video, watch me work, baby. Watch me work.